Bizarre Brain Comics. Hello, my comic book friends, and welcome to Bizarre Brain Comics. I am Gary, your host. This is where I like to take a look at some older comics, talk a little bit about the characters and creators, and examine the stories and the art. Well, this time, we're kind of limited on what we can actually show in these, but Frog appeared again. And we're going to be taking a look at some Robert Crumb Comix. Of course, I just recently did stuff on I showed a bunch of the Weirdo magazines, on which he was editor and did all the covers and did a lot of the interior stuff, but he did a lot more than that too. Before I get into that, remember, I've got my two books available: Bizarre Brain Comics Anthology and Bizarre Brain Comics Presents Heroes. And since we're talking about Crumb, I've got some stuff in this first one that is at least artistically inspired by Crumb. That's not it. And although, unlike Crumb's, mine is okay for kids. I do have some naughty stuff, but it hasn't been published yet. And virtually everything that Crumb does is for adults only. So if you happen to be kids, see, I like, if you've listened to me on my show, you know I don't cuss on my show. I try to stay away from showing too much stuff that's too adult, because I want even though I know most of my viewers are old folks like me, but I want mine to be kid friendly, because I'm hoping that some kids might take an interest in comics, see some of my stuff and be interested in comics. And I want to keep it all kid friendly. And because, hey, I was a sailor, and I cuss like a sailor, but I stay away from the cussing on the show here. So, some of these books I have shown in a different context, but this time we're just going to take a look at these. This is originally from 71 or 72, I think, and this is from an 83 reprint of it. Homegrown Funnies. And this is done by Kitchen Sink. It wasn't originally Kitchen Sink, though. The Snoid, Kilroy, Angel McFood, Mary Jane. This has a fame. Of course, it was a $2 cover price. And there I can here's the back cover, a little story I can kind of cover up. This has, I have to make sure it's decent. This features the famous, a very well-known story of white man meets Bigfoot. And it is a very well-known story. And one of his longer ones, make sure it's, clean enough to show. You have to be careful when you're showing Crumb, because it is definitely. Now he still is. He was a magnificent artist, and you can see a lot of some of his his demented personality in this stuff. Very self-deprecating humor, both him and his late wife, Aline, and their daughter Sophie is a cartoonist now. I have a couple of books of hers somewhere, and I forgot where I was going. Oh yeah, you can see some of his artistic influences, like a little bit of Basil Wolverton in there, and a whole bunch of others. And it comes from comic strips from before the age of comic books, with the Croco pen, all the cross hatching, which was big then, and from the Bigfoot school of cartooning. And of course, he had a lot of drug influence in some of his stuff early on, which he had gotten away from. Here we have is despair. Plunge into the depths of despair. And this is, I think it was 86 or so. 1983. That's what this one was from. And drawing card, it's kind of like a goofy ad. Fake ad. He was good at this kind of stuff because he started at the card company. I suddenly can't think of the name of it, or he learned production, and he does. So he's got all the lettering, the color separations. He would do all the color separations himself, and some goofy stuff. Yeah. Here and funny animals, and they're all that stuff. Because remember, he was. It's one of his most famous characters was, of course, Fritz the cat. That he did had a movie based on it, which he hated, which is one of the reasons why he had Fritz the cat killed off in his storyline. Fuzzy the bunny, and of course, this isn't kitty funny animals by any means. Okay, yeah, that's okay. Some weird stuff. Okay, yeah, that's clean enough. Morbid sense of humor, and it's really too bad. He was just some great stuff. Now, a couple of weeks or so ago, I went through a bunch of Zap comics. Well, this one should have been in with the Zap comics, but it wasn't in that bunch. So this is Zap comics number 8. His brain in a dish. And then we have Mr. Natural number 3. I love Mr. Natural, as you can probably see right here. 44-page Robert Crumb classic, and of course this is from the kitchen sink reprint from I think it was 86, 87, but it was originally from 77. And gotta make sure. Okay, yeah. Gotta make sure it's clean enough. Just love Mr. Natural. And here we have Artistic Comics, adults only. Of course, this is originally from 73 or so, but this is again an 80s or reprint. And Artistic Comics, adults only, has Crumb. Well, that's just weird from the back page. But the whole thing is just, yeah, this is good. Stuff from his sketchbooks. Okay, yeah. So this is always neat because you get to see some of his thought processes in these sketchbooks. Okay, yeah, there we go. As long as it's not, you got to be careful when you're showing Crumb. Then, Motor City Comics, number 2. This is originally from, let's see, what did it say? This is from 1991, and it's from the 70s. I can't find the original date on there. But this is a 90s reprint, Last Gasp. And that's clean enough. Lenore Goldberg and her Girl Commandos. He gets some goofy stuff going on. But he had... Now, one of the things with Crumb and his underground stuff, he had some weird stuff. But all in all, in my opinion, he was one of the more coherent writer-artists of the underground. Some of them, they do stuff, and it makes absolutely no sense at all. But his had some coherence to it. You could read it, and you could enjoy the artwork, and stuff like that. Same thing with Spain Rodriguez, Gilbert Shelton with Fabulous Furry Freak Brothers, and those others. But there are some that they're are greats of the underground, but their stuff is totally incoherent. Nope, I can't show that one. But you can. How about this one? This page. Yeah, okay. You can get an idea. Then we have Big Ass Comics number 2, and I don't think I can show any of that. How about the back? Yeah, the back cover's not too bad. Not bad. Wide load should be the end. Big Ass Comics, yep. Then our Crumb's Snoid Comics, and that's often very perverted. Meet the Snoid. I just recently reread that. Can't help but get looking for some underground stuff, and of course I come in my collection and I come across a bunch of the Crumb. I have a lot more Crumb than these books too. And this is just some of it, but some that was handy. Yeah, this is originally from '78. Then you got Unita Comics, the print mint. The artistic comic. Okay, yeah, the back cover's decent enough. There we go. But you can, if you read through his oeuvre, his whole life, the collection of his work, as he gets older, you can see the quality. I mean, even though he was started off as a great draftsman, but you can see the quality of his draftsmanship, and as well as the production quality, really increased. Here we have Hup number 1. This is from the 80s. What year? 87. Yeah, okay. 87. And this is kind of making fun of adult comic, and kind of making fun of fanboys and the mainstream stuff. Like this character here is Jim Schnuder, kind of like a cross between Stan Lee and Jim Shooter at Marvel. Don't worry about it. And there's a lot of these just talking head stuff. Then here we have Hup number 2. I did a deeper dive into this, and this is one he's actually making fun of mainstream comics. Has his take on a mainstream type comic story with his big power femmes or whatever they call it, and the story, and of course his this was in that period when he was doing. Using brush and ink for a lot of his stuff. I was experimenting with that, and I should have Hup 3 somewhere. I don't even remember maybe I missed it. I don't know. But here we have Hup 4. Hup. And his dartboard. Girls, I love to do weird stuff to them. Hey, where you going, doll? Come here, I want to talk to you. And then have Self-loathing Comics. Now this is stuff that he did, and it says right there for mature audiences. And this has stuff just the day in the life type stuff with him and his wife and his daughter. After they moved to France. But the Self-loathing Comics. This is actually, it says 94, but it's actually from 95. It's when he did that. But this is a flip book. On the other side is Self-loathing Comics, one that Aline Kaminsky Crumb drew. And of course, it's all tame here. They did a little bit of a jam, and then he had all Crumb story here featuring them. But the thing, and on the other side was all Aline stuff, and then right in the middle they meet. And so there's all Aline's stuff. So Self-loathing Comics number 1 doesn't actually have a number on it. But then we have Self-loathing Comics number 2. And this is more stuff that they did together as a jam comic. And it even has some stuff like here. Their daughter Sophie was old enough, and she got into the act. So some of the stuff she drew in here as well. Then we have Mystic Funnies, but here you really see the quality of his draftsmanship has increased. This is 99. Okay, yeah, it's clean enough. Mr. Natural and Flaky Foont are still around, and Flaky Foont, he started off as like a college student, I think, and now he's an old man and probably a grandparent. He's because of course basically Flaky Foont is supposed to be him, but Crumb uses himself enough. He's probably his favorite or most used character in his comics is Crumb himself. And then we have, this is from Arrow's Comics, which is kind of, because it's not really, it's got sexy stuff in it, but it's the Bad Boys comic, Id, Adults Only, number 3. I do have the others somewhere, but I don't, but they weren't in this batch. No, I can't show the backside of that one. But that's all I have for you this time, with a bunch of great Robert Crumb comics. He's really the king of the underground comics set. So I do want to thank you for joining me. Please like, share, and subscribe. And what of these books do you have, if any? Or do you just have them in reprint? Reprint, because most of these are reprints as well. But I mean in trade paperback, because I have some of the stuff in trade paper as well. And tell me how much you love Robert Crumb, or maybe you don't like Robert Crumb because he did some weird stuff, and some of his stuff was taken. I mean, is perceived as misogynist, when I don't think it really is. It's just because he pushes it, and some of the racist stuff which people took seriously that was intended to be satire. So let me know what you think all about Crumb in the comments below, and remember, comics are art.